We are live, Memorial Park Golf Club for the Texas Children's Houston Open. I almost messed up the wrong words there, guys. We're live from Fox's Pizza. We got Fairway to Heaven with a special guest. We're taking all your thoughts and opinions and breaking down this week's field in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good evening, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all to Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. Wherever you're watching, please smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. The race to 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel is on. So please, if you're watching on Twitter, you can bring your questions and comments, but you can also head on over to the STT Sports Network and hit the YouTube page and hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Guys, I'm Phil Stiefel. Joining me, as always, are my main men, Jason Sullivan and Steve, down below. And joining us today, special guest, fan of the show, fan of his work over at Inside Sports Network, Josh Siegel. How you doing, Josh? Welcome to the show today.
What's up, Phil and boys? Yeah, I'm doing great. Feel like it's been a long time coming to join the show. I had you on my podcast a year ago, and I also keep up with a lot of your Philly sports talk takes, which maybe we'll get to later. I know this is a golf podcast, but it's been a fun couple of months with golf. Still riding high from the Super Bowl for the Eagles, but I'm glad that I'm here for the Houston Open, and we got a couple more weeks until the best tournament of the year in Georgia.
Yeah, best tournament of the year in Georgia, without a shadow of a doubt. But before we get there, we get here to the miniature swing. We go from the 4-week Florida swing to the 2 weeks in Texas this week with the Children's Open. And I'll say this, and Jason, you've done this show with me a lot. You know how much I miss the event that used to be played this week every single year, the WGC match play. My favorite event on the golf calendar that's not a major is no longer there. That's why I always have a hard time, Jason, getting into this event, because it's replacing my favorite event.
Are you the only person that likes golf that likes that event?
I think the match play event is better than the Ryder Cup. Yes, I said it right there.
It was fun to bet. I don't know. DFS purposes, I never liked it too much. But it was fun to bet.
Betting wise, it's terrible DFS, but I love the match. It's basically the Ryder Cup, but in a March Madness format, basically.
Good stuff.
Steven, what's up, my man?
Not a fan of it either. I'm glad that there are these changes on the schedule like this to like what Josh is saying, get us prepared for the Masters.
Josh, I'm going to rephrase this because I said how much I love the WGC. Last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was, they did away with it, but they kept the Zurich Tag Team Championship match, okay? It's WrestleMania season just right along with March Madness season here. I said that they could have moved the match play to another time and gotten rid of the Zurich. Out of the gimmicky tournaments, Zurich or match play, which one would you have preferred?
I loved the match play, personally.
2-2.
I think it's because for a common fan, we play a 2v2, best ball match play. So I think having some of that similarity for fans and also just provides a different style of golf, I guess. Not really, but I think players are more aggressive, and having Tiger and he holed out on that one hole a while ago, and I feel like it just creates storylines and different narratives. There's that one year where I think Scheffler played Burns, and they're they were best friends. So I think it just creates some narratives and storylines that it was a little bit different. I hope they bring it back. I think the players just didn't want to do it. It's a lot of golf. They start on Wednesday, and I guess they didn't want that on their schedule 2 weeks before the Masters was with how much golf and stuff. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the Zurich Classic.
Yeah, the Zurich Classic is probably the worst golf tournament I know it's great for Rory and Shane Lowry to be best buddies, and they are the reigning, defending, undisputed tag team champions. But all right, let's get to it. Before we get to the Texas Children's Houston Open, obviously last week the Valspar Championship had a very dramatic ending. I had a live JT bet on the line. Victor Hovland and him going down the wire. Snake pit got to Justin Thomas. Victor Hovland, with all the crap swirling around with his swing and all the changes, he got the win. He got the job done. JT collapsed again. JT starting to get that little reputation of a guy that, is having trouble sealing the deal lately, but he is still a multi-time champion. We'll start with you, Josh, as you're the guest of honor today. Thoughts on the way that wrapped up? Thoughts on Victor's win, but also JT's kind of, I don't want to even call it a collapse, just getting outplayed by Victor Hovland down the stretch there.
Yeah, I mean, both are probably in my top 5 favorite golfers. So I turned it on like pretty late, honestly. I didn't watch much of the Valspar since I was watching March Madness, which I found out that you did not watch a single lick of March Madness, which
0.0 seconds of March Madness I've watched.
Which
the only basketball fan in America that can say that, probably.
Yeah, so I thought I called the last couple holes, and Hovland was putting everything into like 15 feet. I thought that JT made that costly mistake to hit like driver on 16, and it just seemed like JT wasn't really that confident down the stretch. He kind of seemed scared, and Hovland kind of had more guts down the stretch. So it's kind of interesting to see kind of how JT kind of plays the rest of the year. I think he's going to be in contention, hopefully, in like 2-3 weeks, because I have a ticket on him to win like the Masters.
A JT Masters ticket. Wow. No, yeah. I do not have that at all.
55-1. So I guess I can pick lap like the CLV, but
yeah, there you go.
Anyway,
Jason, I was going to say, Jason, you had tickets on both JT and Hovland, one live bet and one pre-tournament bet. So you had it from both ways. I mean, can Victor Hovland use this to push forward this year, or is it still too much up and down with you? And JT can he rebound like Josh thinks over the next couple weeks with this.
I think JT is going to be just fine. I saw that our buddy BK has that 55-1 ticket too. I heard it on his show too. So I think it's a really good bet for the Masters. But I don't know. I feel like golf is just better when these two guys contend. I know that JT kind of blew it, but like when you have a showdown of two or the bigger names in golf, and like Hovland obviously has been pretty bad over the last little stretch, but like when he's playing well and he's dialed in, I mean, he's like a top 2 or 3 watch for me in golf right now. And I feel like he did something that he hasn't done in a long time. Like he was making putts. I mean, he looked really confident. Like to your point, he looks confident down the stretch where he's like knocking down these 15 footers, whereas JT looked shaky. Like even on that chip at the end where he just left it just a tad short. It's almost like JT was like trying not to make a mistake, and Hovland actually like went out and took it. It seemed like to me. But yeah, I had a JT I had a JT pre-tournament 20-1, and then I bet Hovland 16-1 on Saturday night, I believe. So.
That's good. That's good. I take credit for JT's collapse because whenever I've ever live bet somebody on a Sunday morning, they have gone on to fail miserably. So yeah, that's my bad. Steven, and anything else to add to last week's event? Because I keep looking, I can't use this week for Victor Hovland and his victory. I'm still not sold because still the vibe coming off of Victor Hovland, the vibe of the stories and the conversation about his swing, constantly changing, evolving. I need to see more than just one win from Victor Hovland to really get back behind him being an elite golfer.
I want to see him in another tournament play like this and not switch anything, not go to a different putter, not be in his head, just go out there and attack like what Josh was saying. He was hitting the ball about 15 feet from the hole, it felt like, and he was putting himself in position every single hole. I feel bad for JT because he's had some incredible rounds of golf lately where then something like the snake pit where it sucks that it gets you, but kind of chime in what Jason was saying, that's the theater of this. That's what brought tons of people into Sunday, especially that back nine when you had 2 top dogs like that. I thought Xander looked really well on Sunday. So he's coming into form, and but other guys, Billy Horschel, Bridgman, Highsmith, some other guys who, for me, I'm really starting to look at for tournaments like what we're getting ready to talk about for the Houston.
So Josh, you mentioned you got the JT ticket for the Masters. The Masters is 2 weeks away, but we've got the Texas Children's Houston Open this week. Next week, the week before, is the Valero Texas Open. And I saw this online. I'm surprised that this week's field, I know we've got Scottie, Scheffler, and Rory, the two best golfers in the world this week, teeing it up. But it's pretty weak field, honestly, 2 weeks before the Masters. And the better field overall is next week, the week before the Masters. Josh, are you surprised that more players aren't using this week to tune up and then get an extra week at Augusta to practice, to learn the ropes, to get comfortable with it, versus so many big-name golfers, especially guys that haven't played Augusta many times or at all, are playing next week instead? To me, I kind of saw that online. I was kind of confused by that, and I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I think with the course, which we'll get into, which I can speak of, that like there are a lot of similarities this week at Houston Open to Augusta. That I definitely am surprised that some of the other top names aren't playing. I think they kind of all like plan their schedule like months and months in advance. So I'm surprised that more aren't, to be honest, with the course being Bermuda grass, overseeded, like short grass around these greens. These complexes are like pretty hard, pretty fast. You need to be a good flag putter. You need like driving distance. So kind of all those things just yell out Augusta, and I think that's why Rory has played this week and has in the past. Scottie, Scheffler.
So with Scottie, and Scottie's had success here, and then gone on and had major success at the at the Masters, obviously. Jason, you're the course guy. Everything that Josh just said about the course, I mean, around the greens, the driving distance, there are so many similarities. So what do you got on this course here? And do you have anything to add to what Josh said about it's kind of shocking that more guys aren't playing this week versus next week? And I don't know the Valero Texas Open course very well just yet. I haven't done my research for next week yet, but this would be the week to tune up, you would think.
No, I was surprised too, to be honest with you. And I think another point is the rough is like there's almost no rough on this course anymore, and like that's very Augusta National too. And I was a little bit shocked too that like you see, I don't know, like I kind of just like skimmed over the names real quick the other day, and I saw Scottie and Rory obviously playing in the field, and then like you said, I was just shocked that there was such a drop off of like the talent overall. But this course I think is a really good comp and a really good way to get you in the mode for Augusta National. I'm surprised that there's not more too. I mean, like. Exactly.
I'm thinking like a guy like Aubert, Xander, guys like that are playing next week, but are expected to contend at Augusta should be playing this week. That's just my opinion.
And I think they probably have a method to their madness, but I just feel like this is the way better comp course. So I don't know. I would play this week if I was tuning up.
Steven, what do you got on this course this week? What are you looking at? What kind of golfers? It's a 7,400 yard par 71 course. What else are you looking at golfer wise this week?
My theory why there's golfers not going this week is because of TGL. With this being the championship round, there's a lot of guys in the stands, and whoever wins the night, they're going to be partying. And there's some big names in there who are in the field next week. And it's, why not use this week as take it off and celebrate with everyone over there in TGL?
You just totally devalued the Masters by saying party after the TGL is more important than getting ready for the Masters.
Well, you guys, you still get this week. You still get the Valero next week. But for this week, I'm looking at guys, bombers. You don't necessarily have to be accurate off the tee, like super accurate. There aren't that many hazards on this course for guys who are going to be spraying it all over the place. So if you're long off the tee, if you're short, you're going to need your long irons to be pretty elite here. From 175 to 200, that's what I'm. Those are the guys who I'm looking for here, because you're gonna have a lot of par fives, par threes. So
you also got 10 par fours over 490 yards. Josh, the top of the board. DraftKings completely eliminate the 10K range this week. There's no 10K range. There's an 11-7 for Rory, a 12-7 for Scottie, and something that Jason and I talk about all the time. that when you've got Scottie in the field, you got to price him high and eliminate a 5K range, which they do for majors sometimes. And they didn't do that. There's no 5K range this week. So Rory, Scottie, Josh, are you in or out on both, one or the other, or are you out on both of them this week?
I'm still like thinking about that, honestly. I think right now I'd say I'm probably in on Rory.
Okay.
But my fear is, as we talked about with both of them, is that like I don't think when I was watching Rory at the Players, like, and I like watch him talk after his win, like it didn't really seem like he really cared that he won the Players. Like I think his thoughts are the 4 like majors every year until the end of his like career. Like that's all he cares about. That's all anyone cares about. And he's trying to chase down like Brooks Koepka, to tie him with a major. So I think I'm in on Rory if you're asking me from a DFS perspective. I think Rory, I think Scottie, I think they'll probably be similar ownership. I haven't looked at projected ownership yet.
Right now, projected ownership is between 21 and 25 for Scottie, and Rory's between 20 and 28 right now.
Okay,
so they're both going to be right around 25, 28% at this point.
So yeah, I would probably say Rory just based off like the driving distance in long iron play. But I am scared that like this is just for them to tune up and just practice, which I think we can probably all agree that's probably in like the back of our heads.
Jason, I think Josh brings up an excellent point, and it's because of the way they did the pricing, and we'll get into the bottom of the board later on in the show, but it's pretty bleak down in the 6K range this week. Even at the bottom of the 7K, it's not really deep. Almost makes it hard to play Rory or Scottie this week. But then again, here we are talking about not playing the 2 best golfers in the world, like by a long shot. Jason, do you believe what Josh is saying there, or are you leaning a different way there?
It's funny because I was thinking the same exact thing today. It's hard because we don't really know like inside their head, but like Rory's game is locked in right now. He's looked the best he's looked in probably 5 years right now. Yeah. He's looked so dialed in. So that actually gives me a little bit of pause. Just like, he wants to make sure everything stays the way it is. He wants to make sure he's in good form. Like I could see Rory coming out this week in like T5, T6, whatever. But I feel like there's more, I don't want to say pressure because Scottie's the best player in the world still, I think. But I think there's more on Scottie to kind of – his game has just been a touch off lately. And I think there's almost more pressure on him this week to get right, with Augusta coming up here.
So maybe getting right means he goes ahead and goes out there and shoots a bear. I mean, but when we say Scottie's not playing well, I mean, finished 20th at the Players. He's got let me see, a 9th, a 25th, a 3rd, 11th, and a 20th. It's crazy that that's considered a bad season so far.
Well, and I think we can agree too. Like he's not bad. I mean, like even when his worst is still a top 25. But I think he's just a tad off from what we're used to. Yeah. So I could see this, like him wanting to really get right this week.
Steven, any other thoughts on these top 2 golfers here? I mean, personally, I'm leaning the Josh way. I'm completely fading this part of the board.
If I'm having to pick one of the 2, I'm going to go Rory just because he's cheaper. He's in better form, which is kind of why I'm really shocked at DraftKings on how much of a gap there is between Rory and Scottie just because of form. And, because we're sitting here talking about, Scottie hasn't been playing like Scottie, yet he's still priced at where he's at. Where you got a guy like JJ Spaun who, he's been playing well and he's priced up. That's why I'm shocked that Rory and Scottie aren't flip-flopped. But that's why I was kind of shocked then to hear the ownership percentages being kind of similar, because I feel like people Rory would have been up in the high 30s, around that. But
I mean, it's still early.
There's a good
to get up there.
There are guys in the 9K range though that you can, what Josh said, you can skip and go right over to that range.
I mean, this pretty much shows how weak this field is. No offense to any of these golfers, but you go to the third highest priced golfer is JJ Spaun at 9,900. You got Aaron Rai. I mean, you got Minwoo Lee and Davis Thompson up here in the upper half of the 9K range. Steven, just keep going there with that 9K range there. Who's your favorite play in the 9K range then this week?
There's a few of them. I feel like Aaron Rai's his game, he's so accurate. His irons, this course says Aaron Rai all over it. But I just don't like that 9-8. Say again.
His course history is fantastic as well.
Yeah,
Back-to-back top
it's
seven.
just the 9.8 for his price tag is just what gets me. But I like going down to the bottom. I like Tony Finau the most in the 9K range, just because he's low priced. And again, same good course history. He's won here before. He missed the cut at the Players, but he did the same year he won. So that doesn't bother me at all. So Tony Finau for me in the 9K.
Yeah, and what Rashad's saying here with what everybody's saying, Rory over Scottie, I do expect as the week continues, by tomorrow morning, I kind of can see those ownership percentages, not flip-flop per se, but change a little bit, for sure. So
yeah.
I think the thing that's keeping him close right now is that Scottie's course history is just so good.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest part of it. And Rory, I don't think he's played here before.
He has not played. I mean, the Houston Open's been going on for a long time, but I don't know if he's played at other courses before. But the 4 years that it's been here at Memorial Park, he has not played. Josh, who's your favorite play in the 9K range?
Probably Davis Thompson. He has gained on approach in the last 4 starts consecutively. Last time he did that was during the stretch where I think he top 10 at the U.S. Open, and then he won the John Deere Classic. And you play, like Davis Thompson at courses where he can drive it far. There's no fairway miss penalty. And he has a great short game. So I was kind of looking at the leaderboard and strokes gained last year. Like there wasn't much of a path to kind of separate yourself with your approach play. So if approach play is kind of devalued here from the leaderboard like last year, I think that helps Davis Thompson a lot. And I'll give you one name that I'm looking at, which at ISM, we actually have someone who's there on the practice grounds today and tomorrow. And we told him to take a look at him. I have to follow up with him, but I think Wyndham Clark is a very interesting name. He withdrew from the Players with a neck injury, then didn't play in TGL just to make like that joke again. But this also fits him too, where there's no miss penalty off the tee, short game, and putter, and there's some LACC here, like short grass and stuff. So he's a name that I'm, when I get back from to get a text back from my buddy and see like how he's playing, I think he's a name that at 9,100 and like the low nines, I think maybe people are scared of him because he withdrew. I think he might be a leverage play, hopefully.
Yeah, he's on my maybe list right now. I'm hoping to hear something from somebody that's on the ground about his neck. If he didn't have the neck issue, if he would have just missed the cut a couple weeks ago, Wyndham Clark would be a play for me 100%. But because of the neck issue, he's not right now. But I'm on the fence. But I love that, and I'm huge on Davis Thompson this week. I think he's a fantastic play this week, especially DFS wise. Jason, where are you looking in this 9K range? Unless it's where we're all looking.
So I pretty much don't. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably not going to play the 9K range.
Oh wow,
Davis Thompson is my favorite. If I was gonna say it. I think Davis Thompson.
Okay.
So I actually like the upper half of the 8K way better.
Okay.
So I will play a little bit of Davis Thompson, but I just don't feel comfortable starting a lineup with him. I think that's the biggest thing.
All right. I'm just going to throw out that, I know he's a popular thing. I don't know if I like him as a DFS play because of his ownership, but I thought he was very worth the bet of 44-1, and that's Minwoo Lee in the upper K here. I don't know if I'll get much action in DFS lineups on him because he is going to be in that 15 to 18% ownership. I think there's too much volatility there, but I think it's definitely worth a bet at if you're the fifth highest priced or fourth or fifth highest priced guy, but you're getting 44-1 odds. That tells me something there. So I'm in on that.
I have a question about it. Like, why are people so into Minwoo this week? I want you to kind of like sell me a little bit.
Well, let me pull up all my stats here. First off,
we know he's long. Obviously, that's
he's long.
I also bet him. I could bet him at like 40-1. So
he's really good around the green. He doesn't make a ton of bogeys. He's solid at everything. And I think we're all in on him. Josh, maybe you can agree, because the number is right for a guy that, if he was 20-1, I wouldn't have bet him. 25-1 would not have bet him.
Yeah.
But anything north of 40, I think it's a worthy bet right there.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about him today in like my love-hate like thread I put out on Tuesdays, and he plays well at like these tough like courses. Like if you look at his major championship like history, like he's pretty good, and there is some rain coming in and wind that we haven't really talked about. So if it gets windy and rainy, I think that kind of plays into his style of game. Being very long if it gets soft and being great around these greens. So that's kind of like my sell and kind of what other people I've been seeing. But yeah, he's like very popular. I think he's like top.
He's a very popular guy right now. I can see him getting to 20% or higher even on the DraftKings side of things, which is very scary. 20% of Min Woo Lee. Jason, you said you love the 8K range, and it brings in something very interesting. And I think it was Len Hochberg wrote about it on Twitter yesterday that this week anybody just outside the top 50 can qualify for the Masters by getting within the top 50. And one of the popular names who has struggled the last couple of weeks a little bit is in this upper 8K range at Michael Kim. There's a lot of golfers that have a lot on the line this week to guarantee themselves a chance to play next week at the Masters. So who are you looking at, Jason, in the 8K range that you like so much?
You know what's funny about Michael Kim, too, is he's kind of lost a little bit of steam, I think, in the market.
100%.
But he's only had one bad round, really. I mean, he had one really terrible round that really impacted everything. I mean, I think he'll be fine. My favorite play in this range, though, is Steven Yeager. I just think he won here last year and then a ninth the year before. And he's just one of those guys that, like, when he likes the course, he usually performs. And I think we've seen his game trending in the right direction recently. He used to be like Mr. Cutmaker, and now he's turned into like more of a boomer bust. And when he's hot, I always play him. So he's probably my favorite in this range, but I also really like Pendrith just because of the reason, almost the same exact reasons we said about Davis Thompson. Like he's good around the green. He's a longer guy. And if it's wet this week, we're going to want this guy that can carry it. So if he gets hot with the putter, I think he's a guy that can win. I thought about adding a bet on him as well this week. And then Siwoo, which is a guy that you wouldn't think would – he has good course history here, I believe, but you wouldn't think it would fit him that well. But I just think – his approach game I really like, and I like him on courses that he likes. So those are my three.
Gotcha. Steven, I know you mentioned guys that have been having success lately. Jacob Bridgman's a name that's been having a lot of success lately. Where are you at in this 8K range?
He's one of the guys that I have on my list. He's going to win soon. Just the way he bounces back after a bogey. His putter is elite right now. He's just in that group of up and coming golfers right now. I think Smalley's going to be a good pick in the lower 8K range, and then I agree with Jason with Taylor Pendrith. I put him in that Min Woo Clark category of what they can do on this course. Just kind of fits their mold if their game is clicking.
Josh, any thoughts on this range so far? My one name, I want to get back to Alex Smalley in a second, but your thoughts on it, because you guys have both, the first two have missed one name that I think is a really sneaky play down here.
So my guy's Pendrith here. I bet him. So I won't waste too much oxygen anymore, but Thomas Dietrich is a name. Okay. 8,600. I was on him last week, which he made the cut, but he was thought he should have finished better than he did, but I just like him at like these like tough like courses. He's decently long and has a really good like short game, so he kind of checks two of like the three like boxes for me. So Dietrich and Pendrith are my two names. Gotcha.
I do like Pendrith this week. I didn't bet him. I thought his number would be a little higher than 45-1, which I saw on DraftKings and Fanatics. Alex Smalley, I don't know. I kind of feel like he's in that Michael Kim realm that I'm not sure if his bubble's kind of burst yet or not, but he's on the maybe list. A name that's missed the cut 2 weeks in a row, or two tournaments in a row, under 10% ownership, but his course history here is 17th, 19th, 20th, and 27th. Great ball striker, and that's Maverick McNeely. I kind of feel like Maverick McNeely at 8,300 is a guy, and I'll just be honest, I've only built two lineups so far, and he's ended up being my last click in both lineups. So I had about 8,400 to 8,600 in both lineups available when I was building them with the last pick, and Maverick McNeely for his ball striking skills. I know he's a little weak around the greens, but if his ball striking's on, then we don't have to worry about the around the green and scrambling kind of thing. I kind of like Maverick McNeely this week. Not as a bet, not as a winner, but as a guy that, if you're into the top markets and placement markets, a top 20 type bet on Maverick McNeely, I think would be a really solid play. And again, like I said, on the DFS side of things, I think he's a really strong play right there. Going into the 7K range, there's a couple names, and Steven, you've already mentioned Highsmith and Bridgman and all in this range. I got to get into this. I do, because I've always stayed away from one specific guy because he's the model darling. Last week was the first time in 2 years I clicked his name in one lineup. Actually, it might have been two lineups. And again, for the same reason, he missed the cut again. And he's number 2 in my model again this week. And it's Kurt Kitayama. And I'm baffled how this guy keeps ending up in the top 5 of everyone I read, everyone I talk about. Everyone keeps saying, Kurt Kitayama, the dude stinks, plain and simple. And it's so frustrating to see him continue to pop in my model.
For it again.
Josh,
I will not fall for it.
Don't fall for Kurt Kitayama, Josh. But who do you got in this range here, Josh?
I haven't fallen for Kurt Kitayama. I think I bet him once or twice, and I was like, you don't get like a third strike, buddy. But he's an ISN guy.
Are you bringing back the DTM list, Jason? It sounds like Josh got Kurt on the DTM. The DTM stands for Dead to Me list. Captain by who, Jason?
Oh, Matt Wolf, of course.
Matt Wolf was the guy that I started the DTM for back when he was back when we cared about Matt Wolf still and thought he was going to be a good golfer. Sorry, Josh, continue on.
Yeah, I completely agree with Kitayama. It's actually a thing in our Discord that like he's a model like darling, and like a lot of them like fall for it, but I'm off it this week. But I think my guy, I was on him last week. He missed the cut actually in horrific fashion. Is Nikolai Højgaard? Højgaard? Yeah. He's a long, good iron player. Sneaky good like short game. He ranked 4th in my stats around the green. He missed a cut the last 2 weeks, but I just think his course fit is too good for me. And I've had a problem this year that I actually did like fix, is that there's guys that I'm on and I'm always like a week like early on guys. I was a week early on Thomas Dietrich. He won at Phoenix. I was early on someone else before the year, or like around like the January Hawaii swing. And then I did that with Ludwig. I was like, all right, I'm taking Ludwig. I was like a week. I was on him at Pebble, and then he withdrew, and then I had him at the Genesis. Had Henley at Honda or the COG, and then he wins the API. So Højgaard's a bet for me at 100 to 1. I think I think he might be down to 80 at some books, but his course fit's like too good for me, and I think it's worth a flyer at 7,400, I believe.
All right, Jason, what do you got here in the 7K range? If you don't like the 9K, you gotta love the 8 and the 7K range. Then
I do love the 7K. I like a lot in the 7K actually. To be honest,
I got like 9 names written down here.
Joe Highsmith. I mean, like, I'm gonna play him until the wheels fall off. I feel like this guy's just like a really solid golfer, and like every week I'm like, his ownership's getting a little chalky. Maybe I'll get off of it. And every week it's just like he just continuously hits you with like the T15 to T25 range. So I like him a lot. I don't know if I've ever said this, but I like Patrick Rogers a lot this week. I just feel like, especially if the course is wet, like we're thinking it's going to be, I'm definitely going to be on him this week. And then lastly, Davis Riley is another guy that like, I don't ever play him. I've never really played him until the last few weeks, but like when he likes the course and he's hot, you play him. And that's probably going to not last very long, and it's probably going to end terribly at some point, but I'm going to keep riding it.
To touch on Davis Riley, I don't think I've ever bet a guy outright that has modeled so poorly as he did this week in Davis Riley. But 130 to 1 on Davis Riley, everything you just said about him, like he shouldn't be 100th in my model. He should be.
He'll stay hot for like 4 or 5 weeks, and then
exactly 131. I think Davis Riley might have been the first bet I placed.
He's down like 80 to 1 on some books.
Oh wow!
He on Sunday night when because DraftKings drops their odds first, he was like 150, 170, and now he's like. I personally don't really get it with him. He's like
not gonna win.
Yeah, but like, what's it like? He's going to be like what 10% probably. Like I just can't eat that chalk for when this like huge like 7K range. Like you can scroll and just find all these guys. So yeah, I get it, but
about 15% right now is what we're looking at here. Right
Wow.
A 7K, 15%. Like I can't.
I much rather like my bet at 130 to 1 than 15% Davis Riley right there.
Yeah. So.
Steven, what do you got in the 9K range or the 7K range here?
I'm kind of like making a Team Canada list over here. I like Nick Taylor and I like Mackenzie Hughes. He's got good course history. He's solid around the greens, decent putter. He clearly likes this place. And then another guy, Max McGreevy. Dude is a cut maker. At 7-4, he's made 2 out of 2 cuts here. I just think it's a good value at 7-4.
Okay. I actually, you mentioned Mackenzie Hughes. When I was placing all my bets, I have X amount of dollars to spend. I had $3 left. I'm like, oh, do I want to throw an extra $1 or $2 on X golf or Y golf or whatever? I'm like, no, you know what? I saw Mackenzie Hughes at 100 to 1, and I threw those last $3 on Mackenzie Hughes to 100 to 1. So I like that. I'm going to give you another name that I like a lot, guys. And again, obviously, huge odds on him to win. And he's already – I don't understand why people are ignoring Harris English so much. This not just this week. I mean, all year. I mean, he did win the Farmers early this year. He's a grinder. Whenever a tournament's going to be won at 10, 12 under or even less, a guy that can scramble like Harris English, I know he's not the longest hitter, but the guy's going to hit fairways, and when he misses the green, he's still going to make par. And I absolutely love Harris English at 7,800 this week. And I think it's crazy how few people are on him. Right now, he's projected like 6-7% ownership right now on DraftKings from based off fantasynational.com. I just don't get it. I love myself some Harris English. Johnny Vegas is a guy with a little bit of course history that I like this week as well. And Harry Hall. I think Harry Hall down there at 7,500 could be a very solid play this week. But why is Harris English being ignored this week, guys?
For me personally, I already hit on him, and I don't even think about him when I see him. That's the only thing I can. I just looking past him because it's like, thank you for your services. I already used you. You did what you needed to do for me, and we're out of here. Thank you.
I think it's because people
told you to say thank you for your service.
I think people picture him more on like the plotters courses, and I think because of the length of this course, I think that's what scares people off.
Yeah, I still think you can win as a plotter on a distance course, as long as you're around the green game. And as you say, in bad weather, a guy that's going to have to grind. I think Harris English fits perfectly this week.
Yeah, I think there's going to be someone that doesn't fit the model of drive it far and good iron player. So if it gets rainy, I think on Friday and gets, kind of shaky with the weather, like he can easily gain like 4 strokes around like the green, 4 strokes like putting and like T10. So yeah, it's definitely a play that I will write his name down and get back to you, Phil, if he makes my pool.
I'm curious because you know what, distance-wise, Aaron Rye's not the longest hitter on tour. Everybody loves Aaron Rye, but Harris English not being the longest guy, gets ignored. So I'm just saying it on it. 6K range, guys. I mentioned it the early.
Stand up for Harris English, Phil. Way to stand up for your guy.
The only thing that worries me is he a guy that can actually win 2 events the same year. So while I did throw a couple bucks on him at 90 to 1, I don't know if he's going to win. But if Harris English is top 10 and sub 10% ownership at 7,800. I think that's a slam dunk play right there. So 6K range to me is pretty bleak. I have 5 names written down, 3 starred. But honestly, if I could find a way to skip the 6K range altogether, I'm going to. Josh, do you have anything here in the 6K that you like?
So there's one guy that like I do have a problem with that I just always bet, and that is Michael Thor Olsen. Like Thor, like I just keep buying. I keep buying his talent. He's long, good, like long iron player. Like I'm very tempted if I do get into this like 6K range. Like he would be a guy that maybe I take a chance on, but like I really don't. Like I've already lost way too much money on him, to be completely honest with you. So I think, but so if there's like one guy to take a chance on, I think it's him with the course fit and talent. But he is a mess right now. So I really don't love a guy. I don't have a guy that I'm like definitely play in this like 6K range. I still have to look.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to put the 6K range together.
Yeah.
Jason, what do you got in the 6K range, Jason?
I'll be honest, I'm not going to play the 6K either. But I would say if I was going to, I would say Danny Walker. I just think his game he was good. I mean, he missed the cut last week, so we know that.
You were high on him last week as
I
well.
was high on him last week. I just feel like his talent is too good for this range. That's one of them. And then Mac Meisner would probably be number 2. Another guy that's just, I think, is a little bit underpriced this week. But I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to play any 6K guys.
Meisner's on my list as the maybe list, but he hasn't made the for sure list. Steven, you got anything down here?
Yeah, I got 2 guys. I got Aldrich Hochgeiter, right?
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Pogacar.
Hey, when he was in contention a few weeks ago, the announcers literally pronounced his name every single time differently. So I don't even think the announcers knew how to pronounce his name.
And that's what threw me off too. So that's what I'm going to blame it on too. I'm blaming it on the announcers at the Farmers. But that's why I'm going back to him. He solo second at Mexico, bomber. You never know. If he can get going with the putter, he's a guy. And then I'm going to go back to my gut, who I played last week, and he played well, and he was just a gut play. Emiliano Grillo. I kind of like saying his name too. It's kind of fun to say. So at 6'7", K, 4 out of 5 made cuts. He's got an okay putter. Why not? I'm sticking with the gut. It's pretty big.
You mentioned Pot Geeter, who's number 1 in the field in driving this week, obviously, because he hits the ball a ton. He finished 109th in my model this week. $100 cheaper is the number 4 driver in the field, and that's Alejandro Tosti. And just like Pot, I like to say Alejandro. I like to say that. If you're going to go just purely based off of distance, either Pot Geeter or Toasty is a way you could go if you really need it to dip down there. But yeah, we're going to stay away from that 6K range as much as possible on this show.
Toasty was second here last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. He's also got good course history. There you go. Boom. Yeah. That's a great reason to play him now. Great course history on top of it all. All right, it's time of the show where we do this and we share where we are. My 600-week winning streak in the DFS contest has come to an end as Jason finally wins one of the DFS Weekly. I don't know if you can see it, Josh, on the bottom corner there. The guest DFS wins does not have a check mark on it yet. Okay, because the guests have not won a thing yet. One and dones. I think I've had like 3 straight missed cuts in the one and done. You can grade our choices for the one and dones this week when we get to that, Josh. But DFS Weekly contest, for anybody that knows, we've got a contest running every single week. Link down below. It's $3 to enter. 20 places or 20 spots. Top 3 places get paid. See if you can beat our lineups minus Jason, because Jason's still on the no-fly list with DraftKings.
No-fly list.
Coming up with a new nickname for what you're on every single week until you get your ban lifted for DraftKings. But so how we do this, guys, every week, it's a stake draft, Josh. No duplicates. Got to fit in the DraftKings price thing. Jason as the winner. The winner every week gets to pick the order the following week. So Jason gets to pick the order and how this goes here.
So I'm going to go first. Phil is not going to be participating this week. And then – I'm just kidding. Phil's going to be going second, Josh third, and then Steve fourth.
All right. So it's snake draft style. And then we'll get to our bets, our final thoughts, and anything else we've got. I got one other thing here to get into at the end of the show. So Jason, you get to go first. And who's your first pick off the board?
Well, I don't think you guys would pick him anyway necessarily, but I want to make sure I get him. So I'm going Scottie.
Scottie. Okay. Gotcha. Cool. All right. So I'm going to go with the guy that I know just going to screw the guest as quickly as possible here. So I'm going to go with the guy that I know he would take because also I want him in at least 50% of my lineups, and that's Davis Thompson right there with my first pick.
Oh,
that's rude.
Sorry about that, Josh.
That's rude.
Why nobody likes Phil?
I know. Nobody likes me, and I don't care about it.
I'll take Rory.
Rory right up. So we got the 2 most expensive guys gone right off the bat. Steven, you are up with back-to-back picks here.
All right. I'm going to go with Pendrith.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Minwoo.
Minwoo Lee. Woo! All right, Josh, you're back on the board.
I'll go with Mav McNeely, just to get back at Phil.
Sold.
Okay. All right. Here we go. This is just going to be the me and Josh battle here. Back and forth. Hold on. Now I got to rack
Jason. Way to put him on the lineup together, too. Well done.
Who might he take on his next pick just to screw me? No, you know what? Because he might screw me, I'm going to take Harris English with my next pick.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna stick with Davis Riley for the first one,
okay.
And then I'm gonna go with a guy that I actually didn't talk about, but I love this week, Matt McCarty.
Like that.
Yeah, it's a good solid play right there. Oh, that puts me back on the board. Shoot, I don't like. I like being first or fourth. I don't like being in the middle. It makes me lose.
You were so used to it for so many weeks.
I know. Yeah, that's what happens when you win every single week. You know, Harry Hall is going to be my third pick right there at 7,500. Again, I do like Harry Hall this week. So, you know, as always, I always put my money where my mouth is on this contest here. Josh, you're up.
I'll go with Patrick Rogers.
I thought you said
and Mr. Steven is on the board.
I'm going to go. I am going to go with Mackenzie Hughes.
That's a good pick.
And where is he? And Highsmith.
Gotcha. I think we got some good lineups being built here. Just at quick glance, these four lineups are looking pretty solid. Until this pick from Josh is probably pretty bad. I'm assuming.
This guy. I'll go with Nikolai Højgaard.
I've been on Højgaard every week that he struggled. So
yeah,
he does better for you this week because that's one of the guys that I picked the wrong weeks on regularly. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna hope he is healthy, and I'm gonna hope he's okay. I'm gonna go Wyndham Clark this week here. So my fourth pick's Wyndham Clark.
All right, I'm gonna go with my guy Sam Stevens.
We didn't talk about him this week either. Jason's low-key not talking about the guys he likes so that he can try to win this contest and get back on the board again.
Hummer.
And then I'm gonna go with my gut play of the week. Another guy I didn't talk about at all, but I feel like his around the green game is getting a little bit better. His approach game has been a disaster, but I'm gonna go with Thigala.
Oh gosh.
Thigala's a guy we talked up and hyped him up so much at the start of the season, Jason. And
he said, "Oh gosh, Steve."
Yeah. He lost his mind. He lost his composure. When was it? On Saturday? Was it Saturday or Friday?
I don't know. It's just a guy that we hyped up was going to have such a good season, and he has been so disappointing. I don't even know what to describe where he's at with his game right now. So
the winner's circle.
Look at that. How about that comment right there? All right, I'm gonna go with Johnny Vegas with my next pick. Another one of those a gut feeling kind of plays right there.
He always has one wild pick every week, and it always works. So that's probably gonna work.
It's Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
He's not on Ricky this week. He's not on Ricky Fowler this week.
Ricky's not in the field, is he?
He is.
Yeah.
How did I miss Ricky Fowler was in this field? I'm always on Ricky
74.
Fowler. I guess that was that missing the top 70 at the PGA is what kind of ruined him for me.
Well, he's playing tonight at
there you go.
And then he's flying. But I heard he was there like last weekend. So I don't think he's played the course ever, like in a tournament. But I'll go with Gary Woodland.
The guy that Jason loves to criticize every chance anybody talks about him.
No, I love Gary Woodland. I just want him to be better. I actually watched his full swing episode today.
Really? I didn't even know that might be a must watch then right there for me. Gotcha. Steven, your final two pick.
Final two. I'm gonna go Smalley. And Jacob Bridgman.
I almost took him with my last pick, so good choice right there. All right, your final pick there, Josh.
I will go with Taylor Moore. We did not talk about him, but he is on my list and starred. Actually, I got 2 stars next to his name. That means multiple people I read about or have talked about Taylor Moore right there. So
there's one thing you do: you play Taylor Moore in red states, man.
Yep,
the red state. So,
all right, since I didn't get Min Woo Lee, I'm going to go with Si Woo Kim with my final pick.
Good pick.
It's a good one.
There we go. Lock it in. Update entry. My lineup's locked.
So I'm going to go with my man, Sam Ryder.
Sam Ryder on the Storm right there. How about that? Always like a good Sam Ryder. He's always good hurt the first half of the season. He completely falls apart once the major season rolls around. All right, so we got 4 very solid lineups. Again, everybody watching, even if you're watching on replay, link down below is our DFS contest on DraftKings. Again, it's only $3 to enter. You can see if you could beat our lineups. Again, minus no fly zone Jason right there. Maybe someday someone will know somebody at DraftKings and get him reactivated on their account there. But now it's time for one and dones. Which let me put this back up. I am falling grossly behind in the one and done contest right now. Who was last week? I had Minwoo Lee last. No, I Alex Smalley last week.
Smalley
missed the cut.
Yeah. That was really bad. Decky the week before that, he missed the cut. I had Burns the week. Pretty much, if I pick you in the one and done, you're basically missing the cut. So, who do you guys not want me to pick then?
Steve's going first.
Oh, Steve, you're going first.
All right. I'm gonna go Pendrith.
Pendrith, this is one and done. Okay. Jason?
I'm going to go Davis Thompson.
Davis Thompson, okay. And I'm going to go boom or bust again, which means he could miss the cut. But again, since I got a bet on him, I'm hoping he doesn't, and that's Minwoo Lee. That's why I had Minwoo Lee's name written down because I already filled out my personal sheet for Minwoo Lee there. What do you think of those one and dones there, Josh?
Yeah, so every Wednesday morning I do a newsletter for Inside Sports Network, and I write about we do like a staff one done. I'm in second, and I'm at like 7.4 million, I think, and someone's at 9 who hit Rory and Ludwig.
Oh, geez.
I hit Ludwig.
That's 7. Hold on, let me just put this graphic back up on the screen here. You can keep talking. Our top guy right now is at 2.286.
I know that I've been like hiding in my laughter. But I wrote about.
I like that subbed a little comment. I've been hiding my laughter.
Hey, I'm here just to have some fun. But yeah, I took Minwoo Lee. I wrote about him, so I might have to change that now since Phil took him.
For sure.
I might have to go back and rewrite my little blurb. But yeah, no, I mean I'm taking Minwoo, and I think in the Pat Mayo Cup I'm taking Pendrith with my brothers that we picked.
We're literally into the 12th week of the golf season, and I still have just barely over 700 grand in one and done. So, and I'm having my most profitable golf season of all time so far in almost 5 years of doing this. So that just tells you how bad the one and done I'm doing right now.
That's actually really impressive.
It's really hard to be that bad at picking one and dones as I am so far. It only takes one though to turn it around. That's all
exactly.
I'm saying.
Yep.
It really does.
That's all I'm saying there. Real quick, we'll go around the board here. You don't have to list every single one, but Josh, we'll start with you. Your favorite bet you got this week, or if you had to make one single bet, who's your favorite pick to win this event this week?
Probably going Davis Thompson,
Okay.
just based off the course fit and stuff. I'm at 35 to 1. So yeah, I think that's my pick. If I had to pick one out of the couple guys I bet so far, I still have some room for some other longer shots I have to look into tonight and tomorrow. But yeah, I would go with Davis Thompson.
Steven, what do you got on the betting card? Either read them all off or, tell me some of your favorites that you got.
I got Rory 7 to 1, Minwoo 35 to 1, Pendrith 45 to 1, Mackenzie Hughes 80 to 1, Davis Riley 90 to 1, and Uldrich Polgeiter 120 to 1.
No offense. I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm surprised his odds are so low at 120 to 1 Pot Geeter. I kind of feel like if Mackenzie Hughes is 100, if Harris English is 90, I kind of feel like Pot Geeter would be 200 something to 1.
200, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting. Jason, what do you got there on the bet card?
I got Steven Yeager 45 to 1, Thigala 55 to 1, Sam Stevens at 90 to 1, and then Ryder at 120.
All right. Okay, so before we wrap this show up, I do want to address something that's in the room here right now. I have no college sports affiliation whatsoever, but this show has been built entirely around the Big Ten because we've got Mr. Penn State over here. We've got Mr. Michigan State below me. And in the middle there, we got Mr. Ohio State in a fight. Who would win? Penn State, Ohio State, or Michigan State? I'm not sure. Go about it, guys. Fight it out. Who's got the better program?
Who's got the better
National
program, or
champs.
who would win in a fight?
Who would win in a fight? Who would win a better
The
program?
Lion would win in a fight.
Brag about your school affiliation between
the Lion would win in a fight, and then and then Sparty would come in 2, and then the Nuts go in last for sure. So,
I'm just a nut. It could be. They make a great dessert out of it, though. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good brownie, you know.
Josh, why is Penn State better than all these other schools, though? That's really the main question.
I think sports aside, I think State College is the superior town to Columbus. And
I can agree with that.
We actually just got a Buffalo Wild Wings. It just opened like today. So if you're a B-Dubs fan, we just got that added to our college town. So I would say sports aside, we're not good at like basketball. We come up short versus Ohio State. But I think we do have the superior college town and campus.
I will say this: the Big Ten is still one of the most exciting college football conferences. Like where the Big East in basketball kind of died off over the years. The Big Ten in football. I think all three of you Big Teners can all agree that the Big Ten is still the powerhouse of college football.
Yes, the SEC.
And by the way, Josh, BW.
I mean, we had like some names up. You know, it was Ohio State and Penn State was in like the top 4, and the SEC didn't really do much. So, all
right, Josh, real quick, everybody that's watching, even if you're watching on replay, Josh on social media is at Josh_Siegel 8. Obviously, you do the newsletter over at Inside Sports Network. Tell everybody everything about what you're doing, where they could find you, and all your content. I love your one tweet you do every week. The love them, hate them.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite things. And it's always great when I read it and I see that I'm on the same page with you. So tell everybody all about where they can find you and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so over at Inside Sports Network was founded this year with a bunch of other Twitter guys. And yeah, we basically we have a bunch of like free content. We do a premium show every Wednesday night, breaking down the DFS slate and look at, ownership, at like night before we finalize our like lineups. But I personally run our newsletter. It's a bunch of like stats, player like profiles, and then some more like creative style golf like writing. So example, like I was at the Players like 2 weeks ago, and I wrote about like why the Players is a great tournament to like go to. So that's something, if you guys ever want to go to like a PJ Tour event that's not close to our area, Sawgrass is elite. The course is just designed for a like tournament, and it's provides some good finishes. So yeah, newsletter at ISN, love-hate thread on Tuesday mornings, and then sleepers on Wednesday. And I post my card if I remember on like Wednesday night. Sometimes I forget to like post it, but yeah, that's where you can find all my work.
Awesome. And Steven, what do you got going on over this week for you on Steampunk?
Nothing. Not over there anymore. Doing my own thing. No, yeah, just doing my own thing. Kind of focusing on my life and with the wedding planning and looking for a home. Kind of just doing my own thing right now. So doing fairway is.
I had no idea. I apologize. That means I'm a
priority.
terrible.
No, you're good.
I'm a terrible friend for not knowing that. My bad. Jason, you've got nothing going on in your life, so I don't have to ask about you.
Well, I was gonna give a plug to our guest. I was gonna say, like, as somebody that has no, you're not wrong either, but as somebody that has no affiliation to them at all, I just like ISN's content a lot.
Yeah.
I think Andy's course preview is probably the best, like pre-tournament preview around, and BK and Josh do. I just think like if you're
hold on, BK's on Inside Sports. That's right. We don't like Inside Sports anymore. If you're looking for, like, if you don't know anything or whether you maybe might be an expert in the field, I feel like they bring so much knowledge to the game. And there's so many different personalities, and I'm a big fan. BK's a personality, all right. Josh, I don't know if you know this, Josh, but the fact that you have to work with BK is Jason and I's fault, because he had never done a podcast before he came on to Fairway to Heaven. He didn't even own a microphone. He didn't even own his own beer. Literally, we got him his start in this business. So, you could yell at us for unleashing him onto the world. So,
he's definitely a character for sure. we text back and forth a lot, and yeah, like the content that we have is insane. Just the amount of like shows. So I think like the funniest part is we have like a chat, a Discord that that is humming 24/7 with everyone around like the world. So there's always someone to like chat with, and it gets very distracting during my job. I will first to admit that, and my manager knows that too. But can I ask one last question before we
absolutely ask as many as you want?
Who is your Masters champion?
Masters champion for me. I have 3 future bets.
Not based on like odds. Like, who do you think is going to win?
Before the season, I said Rory, so I guess I'll stick to Rory. But I really like my Ludwig Oberg future bet. I forget what it is. It's like 19 or 20 to 1. So that's where I'm looking at right now. Those 2 guys, Steven?
Rory for me too, and I like Billy Horschel too.
Okay. Billy Horschel at the Masters.
Billy Horschel.
Wow, I like that. I like Joey saying Morikawa. He's been close this year, Joey. He really has.
Joey is a co-founder of Inside Sports Network, and we're both huge Colin Morikawa guys. So I guess I will also go and say I think Colin gets it done.
Okay.
For me,
Josh, before we get to yours, Jason, I keep looking back. Was it 2 years or 3 years ago when Morikawa and Rory were paired in the final round together, and they were really far off? They made really, really good charges, not enough, and both of them hold out on 18. Since then, it's been sticking to my craw that one of those guys hasn't won the Masters. I mean, I'm leaning towards Rory, but I think Morikawa's a great second option there. Jason, who do you got early on for the Masters?
Brooks Koepka.
Oh, I heard somebody that covers Liv tweet that he's been playing really good on Liv right now. So I haven't really looked at Liv yet, so I will start looking into Liv next week. So we get set for the Masters. Jason, I don't know if you know this. We're coming up on our 5th Masters show.
Yeah, that's wild.
In 2 weeks. 5th year covering the Masters. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to dust off the green jacket in 2 weeks for the show. Can't wait to see what the customers have been coming into the pizza shop looking at me, while I'm here doing this. Wait till they see me in a bright green jacket. Doing
bright green jacket that doesn't fit.
Yeah, that does not fit even remote. And I'm a little bit bigger than I
wear
was
it all day.
No, I do not wear it all day. No, definitely not. You picture fat guy in a little coat. That's me in my Masters jacket, just so you know. So guys, again, make sure you find Josh on social media. Make sure you guys are following along the Inside Sports Network. Fantastic content over there for Steven Fuentes, for Jason Sullivan, and for our special guest, Josh Siegel. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week for the Valero, and I'll be back Thursday. No trending in the AM tomorrow morning. Got some catering to take care of here at the shop, but I'll be back Thursday with my Phillies season preview and kickoff show. We got lots planned for that. Everybody have a great night. And as we end every show, it's very simple. Bubbles up, guys.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.